Nathan Reed never believed in monsters. Then he learned the truth. Monsters do not attack. They wait for you to notice them, and once you do, they never leave. Nathan was 26 years old, a web designer living in a small apartment on the edge of Lakewood, a quiet suburb just outside Denver, Colorado. He shared that apartment with his girlfriend, Emily Carter, and a gray cat named Pixel. From the outside, his life looked completely ordinary, until the night Emily said 4 words that changed everything. "Did you see that? It was a Tuesday in October." Emily was standing in the kitchen doorway, staring past Nathan into the hallway behind him. Her face had gone pale. "See what?" Nathan asked. She shook her head slowly. "Nothing," she said. "Forget it." But she did not sleep that night. Neither did Nathan, though he would not understand why for another 2 weeks. At first it was small. Emily flinched at nothing. She kept glancing at the corner of the living room, near the bookshelf. She said she saw something standing there, tall and thin, wearing an old wide-brimmed hat, but only for a second, only from the corner of her eye. The moment she turned to look directly, there was nothing. Nathan told her she was working too hard. He told her it was stress. He was wrong. The first time Nathan saw it himself, he was at his desk at 1 in the morning. 3 monitors glowing in the dark, finishing a website layout. Something moved in the reflection of the window. A shape, tall, still, wearing a hat with a wide, drooping brim, like something torn out of an old photograph. He spun his chair around. Nothing, just the hallway, dim and empty, and the low hum of the refrigerator. He laughed it off. Too much coffee, he told himself. Too many hours staring at screens. But 2 nights later it happened again, and this time it was closer. Here is the thing about the figure in the hat. It cannot be looked at directly. The moment your eyes move toward it, it is simply gone, as if it had never been there. But it is always there, waiting just outside the edge of what you can see. And once you truly understand that, you can never stop feeling it standing behind you again. By the 2nd week of November, Emily had started sleeping with the hallway light on. Nathan noticed she had pushed the bookshelf flush against the wall, as if that would help. "It likes corners," she told him one night, her voice flat and exhausted. "It likes shadows. I do not think it likes being talked about." Nathan asked how she knew that. She did not answer. She only stared at the space over his shoulder, and her eyes filled with tears. Pixel the cat stopped sleeping in the bedroom. Nathan found her one morning crouched in the bathtub, ears flat, staring at a point on the ceiling where nothing was. She would not go near the hallway after dark. Animals, Nathan would later read, often see things before people do. By then it was already too late to matter. Nathan started researching. Forums, old folklore archives, anything about shadow figures, hatmen, peripheral entities. He found dozens of accounts from strangers across the world describing the exact same thing. A tall figure in a hat, seen only from the corner of the eye, always near beds, always near mirrors, always near the places where people feel safest. Some called it the Hat Man. Others had no name for it at all. Every single account ended with the same warning. It gets worse the more you notice it. That night, Nathan made a decision he would spend the rest of his life regretting. He decided to test it. He decided to look. He sat in the living room with every light off, his phone recording, and let his eyes go soft and unfocused, staring straight ahead at the blank television screen. He waited 10 minutes, 20. And then, at the very edge of his vision on the left, near the hallway, something moved, tall, thin. The brim of a hat tilted slightly downward, as if it were watching him without any face to watch him with. His heart slammed against his ribs. Every instinct told him to turn and look. Instead, he forced himself to stay still, eyes locked forward, and he whispered into the dark, "I see you." The shape did not disappear. For the first time in 3 weeks, it did not disappear. It took one slow step closer. Nathan did not sleep that night. He sat awake until sunrise, phone gripped in his hand, replaying 4 seconds of shaky footage over and over. On the recording, there was nothing. No shape, no shadow, just an empty hallway and his own breathing, ragged and afraid. Whatever had been at the edge of his vision left no trace anywhere except inside his skull. Emily left for her sister's place in Boulder the next morning. She said she needed space. She said the apartment did not feel like home anymore. Nathan understood, even though watching her go broke something in him. He told himself he would fix this. He told himself he was strong enough to face it alone. He was wrong about that too. Alone in the apartment, the figure stopped waiting for the edges of his vision. It started appearing in mirrors. The first time, Nathan was brushing his teeth, half asleep. When he caught movement behind his own reflection, the shape of the hat rising out of the shadow of the shower curtain, impossibly tall for such a small bathroom, its edges blurred like smoke caught in an old photograph, he spun around. Nothing. Just the curtain swaying slightly, though the window was shut, and there was no wind at all. He stopped using mirrors after that. He covered the bathroom mirror with a towel. He turned the hallway mirror to face the wall. It did not matter. The thing had already learned where to find him, and mirrors, he realized too late, had only ever been one of many doors. He tried working through a video call with his manager, hoping normal routines would steady him. Halfway through the meeting, his coworker, Jake, went quiet, staring at the screen with a strange expression. "Hey man," Jake said slowly. "Is someone standing behind you?" Nathan turned. Nobody was there. When he looked back at the camera, Jake had already logged off, and he never brought it up again. Nathan called Emily every night that week. She told him things were quieter at her sister's place, but even she admitted, in a small, frightened voice, that sometimes, late at night, she still felt it watching from somewhere just outside the edge of the room. "I do not think distance matters to it," she said. "I think it already knows both of us now." That was the moment Nathan finally understood. Whatever this was, it was not attached to the apartment. It was attached to them. He tried everything a desperate person could think of. Salt across every windowsill, though he did not believe in it. Sage burned in every room until the smoke alarm went off twice. A blessing from a priest at a small church 3 blocks away. Father Simmons walked through the apartment with holy water, said the old words, and left looking paler than when he arrived, refusing to explain why none of it worked. If anything, the attention made things worse. The figure appeared more often now, not only at night but in daylight too. In the reflection of his laptop screen while he worked, in the dark glass of the microwave door, in the black surface of his phone when the screen went dim. Always at the edge, always gone the instant he turned his head. Nathan stopped going outside. He told his manager he was sick, and he was not lying, not really. He felt sick in a way medicine could not touch, a hollow, gnawing exhaustion that came from constantly, desperately refusing to look at the thing that was always almost in view, because that was the rule. The one rule that mattered above everything else. Do not look at it directly. As long as you do not look, it can only get so close. The moment you truly look, it stops being a shadow. It becomes something else. On the 20th of November, his neighbor Diane, an older woman who lived 2 doors down, knocked asking if everything was all right. She said she had heard him talking to someone at 3 in the morning, night after night. Nathan did not remember doing that. He did not remember much about the past few nights at all. There were gaps now, missing hours. He would blink, and the clock would have jumped forward 3 hours, and he would find himself standing in the hallway facing the wall, with no memory of walking there. He started writing things down, trying to hold onto some thread of what was real. His notes from that week grew steadily worse. Neat handwriting on the first page, a shaking scrawl by the fifth, the same words repeated over and over. Do not look. Do not look. It likes it when you look. Do not look. Emily came back on the 23rd of November. She said she had the same dream 3 nights in a row of Nathan standing in the living room with his back to her, and when she called his name in the dream, he began very slowly to turn around. She said she always woke up before she saw his face, and something about that terrified her more than anything the figure had ever done. She drove 2 hours through the night to reach him. When she unlocked the apartment door, the first thing she noticed was the silence. The second thing she noticed was Nathan, sitting perfectly still in the dark living room, facing the blank television, exactly the way he had been sitting the night he decided to look. Nathan, she said. He did not move. She flipped on the light. He was breathing, eyes open, staring at nothing. When she touched his shoulder, he flinched so violently he nearly fell from the chair. And when he finally looked at her, his eyes were red-rimmed and hollow, the eyes of a man who had not truly slept in a very long time. It is not just at the edges anymore, he told her, his voice cracked and small. It is learning how to stand in front of me. I see it longer every time now. Last night I counted 6 seconds before it vanished. 6 seconds, Emily. It used to be less than 1. Emily begged him to leave with her, to walk out the door and never come back, to let the apartment and everything in it go. Nathan almost said yes. He almost stood up and walked out that night, and if he had, this story would have ended very differently. But something in him, pride, or curiosity, or something the figure had already planted there without his knowing, made him hesitate. One more night, he said. I need to understand it. I need to know what it wants. He would get his answer. It was not the answer he wanted. That final night, Emily fell asleep on the couch, worn out from the drive, from the fear, from weeks of watching someone she loved come slowly apart. Nathan sat beside her in the dark, and for the first time in weeks he let his guard down completely. He looked toward the hallway, directly, on purpose. Some quiet, broken corner of his mind had decided he would rather face it than keep running from something he could never outrun. The hallway was empty. Of course it was. It was always empty when he looked straight at it. He almost laughed, almost felt foolish, and turned his head back toward the television. And that was when he finally understood the rule he had gotten wrong from the very beginning. The figure had never needed the edge of his vision to exist. It had only ever needed him to keep checking. Because in the 1/2 second, his eyes were moving away from the hallway and back toward the television. Something was already standing directly behind the couch. Emily woke to the sound of Nathan's breathing changing, slow, then wrong, then not there at all. She opened her eyes and saw him sitting perfectly upright beside her, his head tilted at an angle no sleeping man's head should tilt, and rising behind him, impossibly tall against the ceiling, the shape of a hat, and beneath it, for the very first time, something that might have been a face, if a face could be made of nothing but the dark space between stars. She did not scream. She could not. Her voice, like everything else in that room, belonged to it now. The last thing she remembered seeing before her own vision blurred at the edges and something vast and patient leaned down toward her was Nathan's mouth moving, forming words with no sound behind them. Do not look. Do not look. Do not look. Nathan Reed was reported missing 3 weeks later, after his manager and his family could not reach him. Police found the apartment locked from the inside, untouched, Emily's car still parked outside. No sign of forced entry, no sign of a struggle. The only strange detail, buried in the report and never explained, was the hallway mirror. It had been found facing outward again, toward the room, propped carefully against the wall, as if something had wanted, very badly, to be looked at one final time, if you ever feel it. That faint, crawling awareness at the very edge of your sight. Do not turn your head, do not check, because the moment you look, you give it permission, and it never ever gives that back.